Apple's fiscal second quarter profits jumped a whopping 94% as the consumer electronics giant reported strong sales of its iPhone and iPad products. Apple said it was the highest revenue and earnings ever for the March quarter. To talk more about this, we're joined from our Cape Town studios by Ian Duvenage. He's the team leader of ICT Africa at Frost and Sullivan. Were you blown away by this result, Ian?
Yeah, definitely. I think most people in the market was probably quite surprised. It overshot most expectations on all fronts. I think definitely driven a lot by the iPad sales, which I think have quite a bit of knock-on effect on the iPhone sales. So it's quite a good cycle that Apple's on at the moment, and definitely very good earnings for them at this point.
Ian, I mean, obviously the big question is, how sustainable is this? Would you see this quarter as being somehow exceptional? In other words, were there specific factors that contributed to the type of sales they've got, or is this the type of number that we can expect?
I think we're probably going to see quite a bit more of this. Quite a big focus on the China market and Asia Pacific. I think the iPad sales is only in its infancy, and with the Apple strategy of focusing on the corporate market and enterprise market, and also their big drive into education, I think there's quite a lot more on the cards, and I think there's probably some more of the same to be expected going forward.
Ian, if we look at where Apple is at the moment, and I think there's a big question mark on the departure of obviously Steve Jobs, and Apple being a big leader in innovation, given what they've done now, sitting on the big cash balance that they've got at the moment, where is the growth strategy for a company like Apple? Is there, or do you believe in the CEO's ability on product innovation, and do you think that the growth can continue on the forefront that it's on at the moment?
I think in the first instance, if you look at the growth projections going forward, I definitely think there's still a lot of scope for product innovation. They are set up, I think, pretty well by Steve Jobs to go into the future to develop quite a good base. In terms of innovation going forward, you never know with Apple. They're such an interesting company, and I think definitely one to watch going forward. There's a lot of space in the vertical markets that I think they can still focus on and expand into. As we've seen recently, as previously mentioned, the education sector, the enterprise market has taken up their products very well, and that's obviously been driving some of the results we've been seeing recently. So I think they might have been left in a good space, and it's still on the table to see whether the current CEO obviously can sustain this going forward.
Now, of course, the question is, would you be buying Apple stock at current levels?
Yeah, it's probably a good question for the two next to you to answer. I think with Apple, I think that they've left a couple of their products in quite a good space to setting them up for going forward in future. If you look at the iPhone, the 4S, there's quite a few rumors already flying with the 5 being released. So possibly yes.
I just want to quickly throw forward to the Telkom story, and that KT Corp and Telkom have completed their diagnostic review and are finalizing the terms of a potential strategic venture. What are your thoughts on this front? Ian, have you had a chance to look into the fixed line operator?
Haven't looked into it enough to possibly comment on that specific statement. I think Telkom's doing a lot of work internally to set themselves up going forward. There's been a lot of focus on the African inbound and outbound operations, obviously. So I think they are gearing up to support some of their client base and hopefully capture a bit of the market that they've been losing over the last while.